Not too long ago, in a random house in Rugby, there was
we saw Star Wars! Yeah, we did! Hi, everyone.
Yeah, it's podcasting time for something very different. If anybody on there is listening to this, it's on the Angle Slam podcast and whatnot. It's still us. It's just we're talking about Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, we're gonna mix it up a bit.
Yeah, so treat it as a Christmas bonus.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
So we saw it
midnight showing
2 nights ago now, was it? Yeah. Well, it was. I also found out, even which probably annoy you, about on Facebook, the following day, there was pictures of the premiere at the Rugby, if you will.
So it happened anyway.
So they did do it in Rugby.
Actually, to be honest, I think Rugby Cineworld have lost a customer because we went to the showcase one and it's 10 times better. The screens are bigger, it's more comfortable, there's big reclining seats. It's just so much better.
So, bar.
Sorry, Cineworld, you've just lost a customer. Actually, 2, because my missus comes to all the films with me.
There you go. So there's a shout out for the showcase as well.
Absolutely.
But should we get to the film?
Yeah, so I suppose what we can do is kind of break it into categories and that, and trying to go through it. So, what was like your not overall thought? What was your first impression, like loosely?
From what, like literally from the get?
From when you kind of came out of the cinema, what was your first kind of initial thought? By the way, this is spoiler heavy, obviously. Obviously.
I suppose it's kind of. I'm just going with the end summary. If you're talking about me as I'm leaving the cinema. Actually, no. Okay, I'll put it to you. When I was leaving the cinema, it was like, yes, I enjoyed it a lot. Maybe more biased towards that enjoyment part because I've always been an avid Star Wars fan. And just thought, not awful, not great, but good. Now that I've slept on it, it's one of them where it's a great movie, but I always expect a little bit more when it's Star Wars. It's a good Star Wars movie. It's a great movie, but only a good Star Wars movie. And, as we go on, there's some things I've thought, they didn't explain that, or that was a bit of a... So we'll get into it as we go.
So great, but still missing something.
And I don't really know what.
For me, I would agree. It is great, but there is definitely some flaws in there. As I've said in my spoiler-free review, there are some flaws. There is a couple of holes, maybe a couple of unanswered questions. However, I always come away with, when I come out of the cinema, have I been entertained? And if so, it's a success. And I was thoroughly entertained by it. Yes, I get there was probably a lot of fan service there, a lot of retconning and maybe damage control from The Last Jedi. But overall, I was entertained with the final installment. They tied off some characters really nicely. And I just left with a big smile on my face. And I know there's a lot of criticisms out there of this film, and we'll get into some negatives later on. But I still think, considering what J.J. Abrams had to get stuffed into 2.5 hours, I think he did as best as he possibly could with it.
Well, we were talking on the way there, despite the comparisons with A New Hope, I think Force Awakens was a huge success. And again, there was still some people kind of comparing it to the originals.
It's A New Hope rehash.
And obviously, if you're going to compare it to the originals were so
ahead of their time.
Well, they were ahead of their time, and they were just so well done. And then obviously you had the prequel controversy. So obviously from the get-go, no matter how good Episode 7 was or could have been or whatever, there was always going to be some criticism. And then The Last Jedi, despite me, again, similar to what you just said, when I left the cinema after Last Jedi, I enjoyed myself, but it had that 50-50 split down the middle, and rightly so. Because now after what I saw in Rise of Skywalker, it kind of makes Last Jedi redundant and pointless. Because
there's a lot of people saying that. There was a lot of it that became more or less redundant.
Because Angle Slam guys were talking about TLC the other day, and TLC said, from a storyline perspective, nothing really was built. Same with Last Jedi. The only thing that happened is that
Rey got a bit more powerful.
Rey learned more stuff. There was a little bit more of the backstory of why Ren went.
And then Luke died. That's it.
Other than that, I can't think of anything else, because apart from the Kylo and Rey stuff and Luke stuff, all the other heroes were just running from the First Order. And spoiler, they escape, but it changes nothing. It was just kind of like, meanwhile, we're just still having a war. Well, it's not even a war, was it? It was just like, we're running.
Game of cat and mouse.
Yeah, that was it. So it didn't develop anything. It might have developed slightly more Poe's character, and maybe a little bit more of Leia's. Well, it did because of the whole the Force stuff with Leia. But again, we were talking about how much J.J. Abrams had to kind of
cram in.
Yeah, and then it makes me think when I was talking about the original trilogy. Yeah, there was a rumor going about that George Lucas wasn't happy with The Last Jedi, and then he apparently might have got the arse when he pitched some ideas for this one and was ignored.
Yeah.
But when I think back at it, I know a lot of people are going to be going, what? But from the original trilogy, to me, A New Hope is the weakest.
Really?
Yeah. Just because if you look at how, I know Empire's your film.
The film, not a film.
Exactly.
The film.
So there's that. And Return of the Jedi, to me, just summed up everything so perfectly and was just...
Great finish.
Yeah, just from start to finish, just everything. It was a wild ride, but you never felt exhausted from it. But you were still adrenaline pumped.
Paced perfectly.
Yeah, so A New Hope, again, that's the film that's great for the ahead of its time film. And, he needed that to kick it off. So, I see why it's praised as it is. But George Lucas directed that one. And then there was 2 different directors for Empire and Jedi. And, personally, again, like I say, Jedi and Empire are better than A New Hope. So that tells me, okay, George, you're a great writer. Directing,
that's evident with the prequels.
Yeah, I was going to say.
He directed all 3 of those, and because he was so powerful and strong, and he was basically, everybody would say yes to him and just pander to him, rather than people saying no to him, saying you shouldn't do this, you're doing this. They just say yes, because he created this universe. And he's a great writer and a great builder of characters, but when he's sitting in that director's chair, he's not good.
Yeah,
like that people lay a lot of blame at Hayden Christensen's door about how crap of an actor he was, but it's like, let's put some perspective into that. It was his first big role in movie history. You know what I mean? No one heard of him before that. Doing 2 films with a person behind blue screen most of the time, with a director that didn't know how to direct. Yeah. You can't put all the blame at Hayden's door.
You're following George's lead. You're... Unfortunately, the actors and actresses that he's working with, that should... they will have more... What's the word? Like, experience.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, because of his character, he's almost leading them. So, because, especially Revenge of the Sith, the whole story of Revenge of the Sith is Anakin's downfall.
Yeah.
So these characters have got to play off what Hayden's doing, not the other way around. But the prequels, to me, I really love Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, so
that's one of my favourites. Phantom Menace gets a lot of shit, mainly because of Jar Jar, but I enjoyed Phantom Menace. Attack of the Clones, to me, was... The first half is too much lovey-dovey stuff, even though I knew the story had to be told to understand Anakin's downfall.
Yeah.
But I was like, get to the good stuff. Yes, there's Jango Fett, that's cool. And then when the action starts, you're like, here we go. As soon as they leave the arena, I'm exhausted, and then you get into the 20 minutes of war scenes, you're like, right, give me a minute to catch my breath. So it was like, not enough war at the start, too much at the end.
So, alright, so let's bring that back to Rise of Skywalker then. What did you think about the pacing of the film and the editing? You know what I mean? The way that we go from scene to scene and how it's paced up and down. Does it build correctly? That kind of stuff. So that kind of stuff. What did you enjoy?
Well, I don't think we have to go through the very start because it's the usual stuff. The Star Wars credits, the opening text, all that stuff. I remember we were talking about when at the very start. You see Ren on his rampage and he finds the Emperor.
Mm-hmm. When they kick in with that.
Which is a ballsy move.
It is a ballsy move, and I quite liked it.
I did for the moment of right, we're straight into this, but in hindsight, I think you should have had that build-up to seeing it.
But the problem is we knew... The thing with that was that we knew he was going to be there because of the trailers.
Well, I don't think the trailers should have done it.
No, I don't, but they have. Yeah. So, you know what I mean? I don't mind it because it's different. It's not something that they would usually do with Star Wars, where they kick in with something that big of a deal, really go balls to the wall straight away. So that's why I liked it.
I just think if they really wanted to put... There didn't seem to be as much anticipation for this film as there should have been. And again...
I think it's because of The Last Jedi.
Well, yeah, but I was going to say with The Last Jedi, everyone was just kind of like... Right, so Snoke just got owned like a bitch. Now, they kind of explained that in Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, it was put together via the Emperor.
Yeah, it was kind of a vessel.
Yeah.
So Snoke was his own entity, but he was kind of like following the Emperor's lead.
Emperor's pulling the strings.
Yeah. So he had it was almost like Snoke was just like the messenger, but he had the Emperor's powers. So, like I say, the Emperor was the puppet master. But to me, for the shock value, I would have introduced the Emperor at the end of Last Jedi. So there's the shock in the film. It would have developed more story, and then you would have a more anticipation for Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, I mean,
right, they've got to go
maybe the start of Rise of Skywalker, if they'd have tweaked that and put that at the end of Last Jedi, it would have boosted it more.
Yeah, because then there's that anticipation of holy
shit. Yeah, we've got 2 years to wait, but we've got to wait for the Emperor.
But
so
they didn't. I might have missed it again. When you've only seen the film once, you can't.
Yeah, we've got to go back again.
To me, there was not enough explanation of how the Emperor survived.
Yes, yeah, this is something I said in my spoiler-free review as well, because obviously it's known that he's in the film, so it's not a spoiler. Yeah, they didn't give a massive explanation as to how he came back. I think there was a line or a phrase or something that I may have missed it, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel like I got enough of an explanation to how he comes back. He went and said the line that he said to Anakin in Revenge of the Sith, the dark side of the Force is the pathway to many abilities that some consider to be unnatural.
Yeah.
No, I don't mind that as a callback, that's nice, but that's not really an explanation. It's basically like, I've got dark side powers, so don't you worry about what the ins and outs is.
Yeah.
It's like, but I want to know what the ins and outs are with that. I need to know how he came back. He went down a fucking reactor shaft and blew up.
Yeah. And also, even if he'd somehow survived the fall,
the Death Star blew up.
Yeah,
so it's like, how do you do it?
So it was a kind of like... Do you remember that whole thing in X-Men Last Stand where Xavier kind of teased moving his consciousness into
the body, yeah.
But they never really explained it very well.
How it happened. It just appeared in fucking...
Yeah, but if the Emperor had said something like that, I think that would have been enough to me of like... He always said in Revenge of the Sith, some people going, was he lying to Anakin?
Cheat death.
Yeah, he could stop himself from dying, or stop people he loved from dying. Now, if he'd said, I've done that to myself, I've foreseen the possibility of my own demise, so set things in motion to
put some contingency plans together.
Yeah, even if it was like clone stuff, which people might have gone, oh, clones, that's weird. Not really, because it was clones in Attack of the
perfect sense.
Stuff. Yeah, cloned himself, or... Obviously, Jedi's, when they die, come back as Force ghosts. Might have been a bit far-fetched that the dark side come back as almost... He was almost a zombie, wasn't he?
Yeah, essentially, yeah. He wasn't fully himself.
And they never really explained, when near the end, when there was just like almost an arena full of Sith, but you never really saw their faces, all the hoods.
I think they were all like Emperor kind of things. I think
Druids.
I think they were like, kind of like Druid type things, maybe more of a vision than anything else. It was more of like a thing to kind of scare Rey.
I can believe when he was saying, like, I am, like, the Sith, like, all the Sith. I can believe that because with what he's done and creating an empire and stuff, throughout galaxy, what we know in the Star Wars story, through the galaxy's history, he probably is the most dominating Sith that has ever been.
Yeah.
But it just wasn't, like I say, there wasn't enough explanation of, like, why you're here is like, I'm here to kind of get the throne back. But how you got there? Because even if you were recovered from the Death Star, I can't remember the name of the Sith planet now. But yeah, how did you end up on that Sith planet?
Yeah.
Who took you there? Did you teleport? Is that one of your powers? What's going on?
Yeah.
So,
because I would have even accepted that, because we've got a lot of new Force powers in this. Obviously, we saw Rey using Force lightning. We saw the main thing, she was healing as well. She was forced to heal. They also touched on the Force connection between her and Kylo a lot more as well, and obviously used that to good effect.
Yeah.
All stuff that was good. So if they were to say to that, the Emperor was able to teleport or some shit like that, I would have bought it, because it's like, well, it's a new Force power we haven't seen yet. Because there's been a lot of people moaning and saying, oh, well, they're just overpowered as fuck and there's all these new Force powers and everything coming through. I was like, yeah.
It's the evolution
So what does it matter? It's like, back when you were watching the original trilogy, you weren't going, oh, the Emperor's using electricity, what's going on? I've never seen this before, this is outrageous. No, you just accept it.
You accepted that's dark side power.
That just happened. Yeah, and it's the same thing with this. We get some new powers and I'm totally fine with it. It furthers the point of the story and it fleshes out the characters of Rey and Kylo Ren.
They could have easily explained it of him doing similar to what Luke did in Last Jedi, because Luke used all his powers
to shift through planet to planet.
Yeah, that he did a Force image.
And again, people had problems with that. I was like, I don't.
Yeah,
they teased it earlier in the film, because even Kylo Ren said, "You're not doing this. The Force alone would kill you." And so when Luke was doing it, I was like, right, okay, so they've clearly said that you can do it. It's just it will kill you, and it did kill him.
Yeah, but the Emperor could have easily explained during his fall of I can believe he's got enough power to be able to do that, but where Luke wasn't full on teleport, he did almost a hologram of himself.
Hologram, yeah.
The Emperor was like, no, I used as much power as I could before my demise to
phase through.
Yeah, to phase through to the Sith planet, but I've obviously came out very injured, very
damaged,
fucked up, and very weak to the point that I've had to build up myself over 20, 30 years.
That all makes sense, what you've just said there, and it would have taken 2 minutes of screen time to explain that.
Yeah, so we'll get past that. So yeah, Kylo's there, and he's, they throw the Vader voice in, which was always a nice touch.
Yeah, Snoke's voice is in there as well.
Yeah, so it was almost like the Emperor was saying, I always knew your fate.
Yeah.
That as a Skywalker, one of you would turn to the dark side, and bad luck, it was you, kind of thing.
Right, so let's kind of skip ahead a little bit more then and get into some more nitty gritty stuff.
Yeah.
The whole Chewbacca death fake out kind of thing.
Yeah.
What did you think of it?
Well, at the time,
I generally thought they'd done it, and then as I was looking at it, I was kind of going, not like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not like that.
Okay, because I think after the whole Emperor scene, it was a lot of
it's Fetch Quest stuff, weren't it?
Yeah, it was here's Rey
we've got to go to
training.
here, but then we've got to go to here to get this. We've got to go there to get that. It's something to do with the Sith hologram to get the location to get to the Emperor, and it's basically a tit for tat of finding all the information to get to that point to get to the Emperor.
It was the plot reveal.
Yeah,
it was this is what the story's going to be. But and they kind of, maybe I'm looking too much into it. The arguments between Poe and Rey,
who's kind of in charge.
Yeah, well, it to me teased a slight romance thing because it reminded me of a lot of how Han and Leia bickered.
Yeah,
but maybe that's just the way I look. Other people might have just seen it as no, they really don't get along, and Finn's stuck in the middle.
Yeah,
the Chewie fake out thing.
Because it's the fact that the one thing I did like about it is that it furthers Rey's arc a little bit more to find out more about her later on, as we'll get into, because she uses a Force lightning thing and it blows up with Chewie on it, and she thinks that she's the one that's done that.
Yeah, she's already conflicted anyway. She's just found that Sith dagger, which hasn't really. She's got a connection to it, but it's not explained yet. You just know it's fucking her up a little bit.
Yeah.
You've seen Fat Lando.
I'm so glad Lando is back.
I wanted him to have a bigger role.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's a glorified cameo. And he didn't necessarily need him to be there, but I am glad that they did bring him in, because it has that just a nice little bit of Return of the Jedi flourish by adding him in.
Yeah, I'm glad you've had the original 3 characters in it. Arguably, him and Chewie the 4th, or 4th and 5th. So, and Chewie's already there. So when I did love that whole tug of war thing between Kylo and Rey, because when she took down the TIE silencer, I was thinking, right, I know he's going to live. But realistically, no one survived
it
that
fucking
crash.
blew the fuck up.
The
no
whole
way.
thing, it rolled. He would have had broken arms, neck, and everything. So, but the lightning, seeing the struggle and her then using more and more effort, that lightning coming out of her hand shocked me.
Yeah, it did.
Holy shit!
She did it. I was like, whoa!
And then the shit blew up, and I was saying there's no way Chewie's going out like that. I've always thought in a film like this, when a character dies, you have to see it.
It needs to be earned.
So I was
it's a fake out, and obviously later on we find out that they put him on another transport and they've captured him. So obviously after that they've got to go and save Chewie, all the while trying to get hold of this Sith holocron GPS thing.
But at the same time, I was there I am 75 to 80% confident that Chewie is not dead. But until I get confirmation, I'll be really pissed off if that's the way he goes. You cannot go like that.
No.
So, but that's okay.
I mean, we transitioned to C-3PO. Now, he had a lot to do in this, and he was very integral to the actual film itself. He wasn't just there, because, let's be honest, the droids, R2's done a couple of bits. They're supporting characters. They're a comedy effect most of the time, and they don't really add anything to the story as far as serving the plot and pushing stuff forward.
Not in
really.
This trilogy anyway, or the prequels.
Well, even the original trilogy. I mean, R2 would say a little bit here and there, but not. But C-3PO definitely not. He was there for the comedic effect. He was there for your one-liners and that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
he was never there to further a plot, really.
Yeah, all 3PO did was get blown up in Empire.
Yeah, but with this, he was really integral. He basically said a part of his 6 million forms of communication, he was able to read this Sith tracker thing, but he can't speak it because his programming forbids it. The only way he can do it is if he
it's like a
reboot basically, and just like wipes his memory in the process, which they do.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh fuck, this is it. It's, like,
it's slightly emotional.
We technically lose 3PO because he just comes back to be just becoming 3PO from the start again. Yeah. The only downside I would say from it is that it's kind of undone near the end of the film when R2 just gives him back his memories.
It's a double fake out.
And I like it to a point where it has that kind of final moment with those two together, basically just saying, I'm doing this for my friend kind of thing and getting his memories back. And that's that nice little final moment for those two.
Mm-hmm.
You know they're friends throughout the entire thing. But, like you say, I was kind of like, it should have been that ballsy move of actually wiping his memory, and it stays that way.
Yeah.
He's doing what he can. I mean, he did. He laid down on the line for them. He didn't know he was going to get his memories back, did he? As far as I know, he didn't.
No, he just thought... I think Ray said to him, like, you know the odds, what are our chances if we don't do this? And he knows he's got no choice. He's got to... That's why he does the whole line of, like, I'm taking one last look at my friends. Now, the thing is, what pissed me off, it was a double fake out for me. Because, obviously, in the trailer... him just going and then go, what are you doing, 3PO? Yeah, one last look at my friends. We don't know yet that it's the memory thing. We just think he's going to sacrifice himself. He's going to die. What's happening? And then, getting his memories back. Now, this is the second time in the saga he's had his memory wiped. So he had it wiped at the end of 3. Yeah. And I was thinking, right, not really creative standpoint, you're doing the same thing. Wouldn't it make more sense to say, like, if we, whatever they do to his system, like bypass it or whatever, is a large percentage of a chance that once we've done it and you've done your Sith translation, you just won't come back online again. Yeah. Now, after he does it, he does shut down. Yeah. But then he kind of
pops back up.
Yeah, and his memory's erased. I would have liked it to have the translation, and he deactivates, and they're devastated that he's gone, and then they can't do any work because their first order were just arriving. But they should have took his body, because it was Chewie with him.
Yeah.
Chewie could have done what he did in Empire, threw him on his back, and then you kind of forget about the whole thing, and then right at the end, where you're
R2 gives him his memory.
Well, R2 just reactivates him and stuff, and it's that elation of, like, he's okay, and he's back.
Yeah, I probably would have preferred that, if I'm honest. Yeah, because it still does the same thing plot-wise.
But we were also talking about how careful they were with the characters. Some might go, well, needlessly, it was the last one, and they're going, but this is it. They're protecting their investment of, like, well, in case we do want to do a few more, we've already lost Luke, Leia, and Han.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of people saying, review-wise, that maybe this film was played a little bit too safe.
Yeah, because I was talking about, I thought they destroyed the Falcon.
Yeah.
Which would have broke the hearts of Star Wars fans.
It would have broken our hearts.
But what a moment.
It would have been a moment, exactly. I would agree they do play it safe to a certain point, but there are moments where I think to myself, all right, that's a ballsy move. I didn't expect them to go that way. Mm-hmm. Leading on to the true parentage and whole family arc of Rey. Now, I went on record to say that I thought she was going to be a clone, especially when we saw the Dark Rey in the trailers. But however, that was just a vision that she had. It was just a quick vision she had when she was at the Death Star wreckage. Which, to be honest, if it wasn't going to be a clone thing, that's what I honestly thought it would be. Because it was just like, I don't see her turning to the dark side. It's not her arc. It doesn't make sense. But, it gets you hyped for the film when you see that in a trailer.
Yeah, that was another fake out.
Yeah, exactly. Which, it is a bit of a shame.
But it does make sense to the story of like, her conflict.
She ain't going to the dark side. It's not going to happen. Rey is a Palpatine. She, apparently, her mum and her dad is the son of the Emperor. We do get a kind of rough flashback of them being killed off. Because
Emperor's assassin.
Emperor's assassin, because he refuses to basically do the Emperor's bidding and turn and be part of that life and everything. He turns himself away. So, effectively, they were nobodies, the way that Kylo put it forward. However, they are somebody at the same time. It's like it's towing the line between Rise of Skywalker and Last Jedi and trying to make sense of both in one bit.
I know a lot of people would have, if they went this path, would have gone, oh, it's very Harry Potter, though, isn't it? They should have gone with the whole... Obviously, we don't know at what point in the timeline Rey's parents were killed. I mean, I'm guessing it's while the Emperor was still alive.
Yeah. Well, I would say it was not long after she got dropped off at Jakku.
Yeah, but when was that? I mean, are we talking before Return of the Jedi? After Return of the Jedi? No,
after, because she's a kid.
But the Emperor's already dead.
Yeah, but she's not she's similar age to Kylo Ren.
Yeah, but what I mean is, how can the Emperor do the order to kill her parents if he's dead?
Because, it's the thing, he's not, is he? he's at this Sith planet, isn't he?
Oh, you're thinking he's still like working in the shadows?
Yeah, this is part of the build.
Yeah, possibly. But I would have rather, because again, the thing they had done in The Last Jedi, which maybe the other director was going with the clone story, was her vision on the planet was the reflection
Thousands
of her.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, why is that now?
Yeah.
It just seems...
That unfortunately, with this film,
it does that.
It undoes a lot of stuff with Last Jedi, but I still enjoyed the film.
Well, yeah. It's just, we're stating the fact.
Yeah.
But surely it could have been for a more emotional response and a, like... Yeah, do you remember in, like, Guardians of the Galaxy where his dad reveals he killed his mum?
Yes.
Right. The emotion in that scene...
Anger.
Yeah, and the crowd feel it as well. Like, fuck him up!
Yeah, I was like, as soon as like Star-Lord said, "What?" I think all of us were going, "What?"
Don't get me wrong. I was behind Rey the entire time, but not as I was behind Rey as a viewer, not as an avid fan of like fuck the Emperor up. I think if there would have been a better explanation of like if the Emperor had said to his son, like, "You're my son. You will follow in my footsteps," which might have made more sense of why, when his son said no, why he led towards Anakin, of like, he's the son I always wanted.
Yeah, I just don't think that. I don't think the timelines match up.
But also, with why is the Emperor's son a nobody, as cheesy as it sounds, and done it in Attack of the Clones slightly, it could have been because he chose love. He fell in love with someone, he had a child, which was Rey.
Yeah.
And then that whole dynamic.
Tried to bail on it. It's probably similar to the Galen Erso thing with Jin and everything in Rogue One. It's just he was doing the whole Death Star thing, and then he just said, "I'm going away from my life. I don't want to do it. I want to be with my family and just not be a part of it." And he's kind of forced back into it. But on this case, he was just killed. Also,
this is a review, so spoilers and stuff. The reason Rey had the Force problems with the dagger is that was the dagger that was used to kill her parents.
Yes.
There you go.
And obviously it makes sense earlier to cause back to when she used the lightning. It's like, right, so that's why the lightning came out. It's a dark side power and it's a Palpatine. So the reason I liked this reveal is because it was one of the more out there theories of what her parentage was, and it was so out there that I thought there's no way they're going to go for that. They were going to play it safe and have her be something to do with Han or Luke or Kenobi or something around that, or she will end up being a nobody or be a clone or something like that. These ones are a little bit more safer. The Palpatine one was one of the most out there ones, which is why I was happy they went for this, because it was one of the ones I generally didn't think they'd go for. And I'm glad that they did. It adds more layer to her. Just like, right, well, she's got proper dark side shit inside her there. Yeah. And then it kind of marries her and Kylo together very well. She's on the light side, but definitely got dark in her. And he's on the dark side, and he's definitely got the light in him. Yeah. Which I will push forward to. They get into a lightsaber fight on the Death Star wreckage, which is great.
That's awesome,
Awesome fight. Really enjoyed that. Special effects are all great with that. As they are with the final battle as well, I think.
It'd be able to say the sentence, they had a fight on the Death Star wreckage. Well, just Death Star. It's on the Death Star,
but yeah, the bit after that, she obviously stabs him.
Because of Leia's distraction, which ends Leia.
Yeah, ends Leia. Leia distracts him through the Force, and that ends her. And again, it's a good way to tie Leia into the story. Again, I will say that they really did really well with the whole Leia thing, considering that Carrie was dead. They used footage. They did really well with that art, made it important. That link to Kylo. Obviously, he gets stabbed. Then she heals him. Yeah. And then she bails, and Kylo's left there on his own.
The conflict.
This conflict thing comes back again, because obviously we know he's a conflicted character. And Kylo's one of my favourite characters. I really, really like him. I think he's had a hell of an arc. He really has.
He got past that whiny princess bitch thing that everyone had with him in episode 7.
I think he's a hell of a character, and you get this final moment with him turning back to the light. Yeah. And I wasn't too sure whether they were actually going to go with the redemption arc for him, because I thought maybe he's too irredeemable, being as he killed
Han. And it's also a bit too Vader.
Yeah. But the way they did it, I was okay with, because not only did it have Leia interwoven into that to kind of help, but also when he was conflicted standing on the end of the wreckage, he has a kind of memory, so to speak, or a kind of vision of Han Solo. Because he's not a Force ghost, because he's not part of the Force and he can't do that. So he's not a Force ghost. But I liked how we got one more Harrison Ford cameo. It was similar to when they're on the bridge in Force Awakens, except this time it goes the way that Han wanted it to. He turns around, throws the lightsaber into the water, and then Han's gone. It's that moment. It's like, I don't need this. I don't need this life, and I'm gonna do what's
redeem
right.
himself. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was.
I liked it.
It was like we're in his head. It was like an inner monologue of like.
And again, with Adam Driver again acted beautifully.
It was the memory of because I think it was even said early on in the film by Ray, like, I can sense you're still conflicted with the guilt of killing your own father, which he denied, but you know, as soon as she says it, it's like, yes, you are.
You are.
So it was almost like there's the memory of what happened on the bridge, as well as if he were here, what would he be saying to me? And that was it. Of like, I know I fucked up. I'm sorry I killed you. This is what I would have done or should have done, and now it's time.
And he was able to do that with his father and indeed his mum's help.
But as soon as that happened, and then it showed Ray back on Luke's island.
I think it's called Up 2. Yeah, she was because she took off with the fucking TIE fighter, didn't she? And then she went there and she was burning that. And then we get to this other scene.
As soon as that happened, I was like, if Hannah's there, Luke's coming,
and I'm glad that he is, and I'm glad that he did. The way he came through, I liked it. The only thing is, again, it undoes something that people didn't like of The Last Jedi. She threw loads of stuff onto the TIE fighter and everything, and then while it was burning, and then at the last moment she threw the saber. Luke catches the saber as a Force ghost, walks out and goes, this weapon needs to be treated with a little bit more respect. Which harks back exactly to the point at the start of The Last Jedi where he just threw it over his shoulder, because people were like, Luke wouldn't do that. They literally did it for a cheap gag. And although I agree with it, I was like, yeah, but he's broken as a person. He doesn't want any part of his life anymore. Kylo and everything's fucked him up. He's alone for a fucking reason.
I think that was more, it was kind of a cheap joke, but I think that was a throwback to what happened with Jedi, of like you say, back in The Last Jedi,
he realised he should have done it. Yeah.
But it's like when he's like, you've redeemed me, now I'm helping.
Yeah, and like when he said he treats her with more respect, he basically kind of saying to himself, I shouldn't have done what I did for you before, which is chuck it over my shoulder and not want any part of it.
You're better than me.
He's come out here to give her one final kind of pep talk, final rally to get this shit done.
Yeah, it was like, even though
that's part of it. That's his intro.
To say obviously more to her to get her like mojo back and say, "Come on, you can do this." It was almost a summary of like, you're better than that, and you're better than me because you believed in me when I didn't believe in me.
Yeah.
So and now I believe in you. And the thing is, I'm going to say, back in the prequel trilogy, they kind of, I think George Lucas says in an interview, like, Anakin's always been the chosen one. He was the chosen one from the get-go. It was just unfortunate that he was led down the
wrong path.
Yeah, the wrong path. So it was almost like Anakin as a boy, like when you see him in Phantom Menace, he's like the best Samaritan. He's helping people without any thought of reward, all that kind of stuff. So it was like, he's the ultimate light side good guy that went down the path of the dark. Rey is destined to be the ultimate dark side, Sith Lord.
Yeah.
That chose the path of the light instead. So in essence, she's the other chosen one.
It's the polar opposite.
But she's another chosen one.
Yeah.
With everything they've done with the Rey character up from Force Awakens to now, is like, she's the perfect example of, as cheesy as it is, bringing balance to the Force. She's a Palpatine that chose to be good.
Yeah. Because
of the people around her. I don't know how I feel about the point of bringing Ren's mask back.
I liked it. It's because I always liked the mask anyway.
I did, but it was a merch thing.
Oh, yeah, of course it was.
He never needed the mask back.
Of course it was, but I don't care because I love the mask. It's a symbol and everything, isn't it, of this fear. Let's get into this one really quick.
Hux.
Hux. Let's do Hux first. He was the spy, and then he just gets fucking gunned down. But like you said, I like the fact that he said, I don't care if you win, I just don't like Kylo Ren.
I don't want him to win.
Yeah,
which makes sense.
It makes perfect sense for his art because of how venomous and how much he hates all these people, especially in Force Awakens with that speech he made. But he's definitely on this side.
That's it. That's what annoyed me, of like...
It makes no sense for his character.
You show so much passion for this First Order.
And to help them, but it's just like, no, he's not doing it for them, he's doing it to fuck off Kylo.
To turn against your entire belief system that you have so much passion for, purely because of your hatred for one guy, I don't know.
I don't mind it. I hate how he was killed like a chump. However, that new kind of Admiral guy is quite...
Yeah, he's known for being a bad guy.
He was quite intimidating.
So at first I thought, right, it's obvious he's the spy, because he's usually a bad guy in films, but maybe be the good guy. And then the more they teased he was the spy, I was thinking, he'll be General Hux. And as soon as he said to the stormtroopers, I'll kill them.
I knew it. Yeah, so
he's
did
the spy.
The thing I was going to get to, and I will get to it in like my spoiler talk video, which will probably be up before this, to be perfectly honest. Knights of Ren, useless.
Yep.
They were cannon fodder.
They followed them and did nothing.
Yeah, they were there to like kind of be bodyguards for Ren to a point, but then obviously once he turned back to the light side, they ended up being stuff for him to take down.
Yeah.
And it's a shame, really. Again, I think it was more merch kind of stuff.
Yeah,
that's 7 Funko Pops you've got out of them.
Because,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. You're waiting. You see them like spying on them on the first planet they were when they found the dagger, and then following them in spaceships and stuff. And it's that build. It's almost like the whole when Fett followed the Falcon.
Yeah,
thing.
you're waiting for that.
Wait for the strike.
Yeah.
And it never happens.
No.
They're
just there on the planet for Kylo Ren to take down.
Yeah.
Or Ben, as he would now be called.
Well, what was the name of the... I don't know if she was a Banshee. She was a mercenary that Poe knew.
Oh, yeah, her.
Yeah, I can't remember her name.
I can't remember her name either.
But as soon as she took the visor off, I was looking at the guy, I was like, who are you? Because I recognise your fucking voice, and I can't...
I don't know who it is.
Oh,
it was obviously an ex-love interest of Poe's.
Yeah, which... Again, well, that was another thing. The Finn and Rey thing. He teased it 2 or 3 times during the film that he's going to proclaim his love for Rey.
Yeah.
Never does.
It never does, no.
Which some people might be okay with, some might not. They completely dropped the Rose and Finn storyline, which I was okay with.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm okay with because I don't like Rose the character. I just thought she was shoehorned in for no real reason.
Yeah.
I just didn't need her.
Well,
so she was like pushed back in this film. And to be honest, with all the other characters and all the things we've got to get through, I'm fine with.
Yeah, now the 2 things the main thing, this is probably the biggest negatives I've got of the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, let's get into more
the 2 biggest
stuff.
negatives for me, which they did, one didn't happen in a way I thought it would, which I was like, oh, okay. But when they find, they're almost, I can't remember what you'd call them, almost like the natives of where of Endor, I suppose, that's where the Death Star remains were. They had the connection between Finn and one of the leader of the pack. I don't know their character's name either.
Oh, the black chick?
Yeah. Of like, I used to be a stormtrooper. So did I.
Yeah.
And I was like, right, please don't go with a romantic connection with these 2, not just because they're stormtroopers, but because they're both black. Because, but
they didn't though. I mean, they teased it again. I mean, Finn's a bit of a whore, if I'm completely honest.
Oh, yeah.
But they didn't actually do it. I didn't see it as that. I just saw it as that they got this connection that they never thought they would have. Well, yes. Especially with Finn, that he didn't think he'd have another defector the way he did.
Yeah.
She's obviously, the people that she's with all defected with her as well. So finding out that revelation for him was a great thing. So he naturally gravitated towards her because he feels like she is him.
Yeah, and I know it shouldn't really matter if they're a black, white or whatever, and it doesn't to the degree, but I just thought... They might have.
You don't want to force it.
Yeah, they might have chose her to be that character because of the race thing. And then, as soon as I thought, are they going to have a romantic connection now because of this? They didn't, which is great. But they just showed a great partnership in battle, which was fine. The other thing that really pissed me off was near the end when Kylo and Rey kissed. That was not the kind of relationship they had. I know there was kind of teasers of how close and bonded they were through the Force and the light and dark, but I was feeling more of the bond of like warriors or almost brother and sister.
Yeah.
Because there was no tease of an actual romantic connection throughout the first 2 films. It was
I don't know. I think The Last Jedi was a couple of times where they were doing this thing, especially when he was shirtless.
Yeah, that was it. I don't like that part.
I didn't mind it. It was fun because it was brief. It wasn't like they went all sweet, skipping off into the sunset together.
It should have been a hug. I would have been fine with a hug, but
I didn't mind it.
Maybe the kiss should have been more. It's hard to do, but more an obvious kiss of thank you.
Minimal.
Yeah, of like thank you so much.
Okay, then we're kind of pushing towards the end of this film. So let's get into like the final battle.
Yeah,
I cannot deny that.
I was in it.
It was all awesome.
I was into it.
Like all the ships coming up with the original Star Wars music coming in, and Lando the Falcon, all these ships. Wedge was there as a cameo. That was all freaking awesome.
But you missed the John Williams one.
Yeah, there was a John Williams one with the guy with one eye in the canteen. Yeah, completely fucking missed that. Didn't spot it. But yeah, the final battle, as far as like just full-on space action and special effects and just fun, just trying to take down this fleet of Star Destroyers one by one with like this radio transmitter thing back and forth. All of that was awesome, and it all kind of ties into Rey taking on the Emperor. One thing we mentioned as well, when she was at Up 2 with Luke, she gave her Leia's lightsaber.
Yeah.
There was like a small vision of them doing training. She gave it all up because she could see the path that things were going to happen if she did. She gave it up, so she took both lightsabers to this Sith planet thing, and that played a part into the final battle with the Emperor.
This isn't a knock to the story now, this is a knock to the creator. Just a slight one. They've obviously used motion capture on Carrie before when she was in Rogue One as a younger princess. When they shown that flashback of Luke training Leia, and he pulled the visor up and showed young Luke, that was bang on.
Yeah, it really was.
Leia, not so much.
I didn't know. I thought it was fine.
I thought it was a little bit...
To be honest, you wouldn't have needed to do special effects with Luke. You could have just got Sebastian Stan because he looks like fucking Mark Hamill young anyway.
But even like the little like spark, like beauty mark or whatever you call them on Luke's face, to a T. Yeah. Leia, I don't know, it looked very photoshopped to me.
Really?
Yeah,
I thought it was fine. But it's just a quick thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's got 2 lightsabers. She takes on the Emperor with both lightsabers, and Ben makes his appearance. Obviously, Kylo Ren's now Ben Solo. Takes on the Knights of Ren. I like the fact that she puts her lightsaber behind her to make it seem like she's going to go to the dark side with the Emperor, and that phases through to where Kylo is. Yeah. He's got the lightsaber and he takes down the Knights of Ren. All of that was really good. Again, a great use of these new powers. And then obviously both of them kind of take on. They get kind of taken out with a life force kind of thing because he's trying to get his life force fully back so he can regain his full strength.
Because that's something he seems that he didn't know about until they were both there. Of like, this is a connection that hasn't been seen in like generations of Jedi, and now the 2 will feed the 1, and it starts draining.
I mean, he even uses the lightning at some point to like deactivate ships, and they're all falling from the sky.
Takes out the fucking sky.
And I like that because it harks back to Return of the Jedi when he's seeing like he's showing Luke like this fleet being destroyed by everything. Yeah. And I don't think it was a misstep as far as fan service. I think that was perfect fan service. It's like this is a nice little moment, little tidbit of like Return of the Jedi feel, but not too much. Yeah. Little things like that are enough for me. And I really full on enjoyed that final battle. I'm a little bit confused at like taking the life force out of them and then suddenly they're okay. Yeah, that was a bit weird. It's like, are they dead?
Well, Rey kind of did die, then Kylo got thrown down a hole. But
Kylo I was like, 1 minute, I was just like, that can't be it for him, can it?
No, yeah.
Gone. I was like,
well, at this point, he's Ben.
So, yeah, we'll go with Ben.
I just thought, when the Emperor was bringing the Force back, so he brought himself life. You know, I'm cool with it. Had the yellow eyes, and he was back to be the Emperor. But I thought, if this is really regenerating yourself, surely you go back to how you looked before the accident.
Maybe they got laid one more time.
Yeah, you'd just be Ian McDermott again. I'm like, I'm sound. And now, when Rey pulled it back, used the energy of all the Jedi,
both lightsabers. Oh, one thing with the Jedi thing, we got loads of cameo voiceovers.
Oh yeah,
Hayden Christensen. We have Frank Oz. We had both Obi-Wan Kenobi, Alec Guinness, and Ewan McGregor. We got Mace Windu. We got Qui-Gon Jinn as well. Obviously Luke. Leia, I think, was maybe in there.
Possibly, yeah.
Apparently, Ahsoka Tano was in there as well.
Oh, okay.
I didn't spot that, but apparently she was. Do you think loved all of that.
Do you think they used a snippet of Alec Guinness?
Yeah, they did.
Oh, they did.
They used both Obi-Wan Kenobis. They used them both, and I'm glad that they did. We get to hear these old voices again, and it kind of pushes forward to the I am all the Jedi, and she uses that to take the Emperor down.
Right. Throw back to before we go on to that bit. Throw back to when Luke and Rey see. I did like this, as cheesy as it was, the full circle of him rising the X-wing out of the swamp.
I love that.
Exactly the way Yoda did it.
I love that.
Bang on.
And then she took the X-wing. That was awesome. Yeah, I forgot about that. That was great. I love that.
Her wiping out the Emperor with the lightning.
Lightning and lightsabers.
Right.
Yeah.
First thing, this is the second time this has happened to the Emperor. Surely, when that begins to happen,
learn.
Just stop.
Just learn.
You want to control the lightning. Don't continue. Just stop doing it.
You already look like a testicle. Do you want to make it any worse?
And number 2, he's meant to be dead now. How can we now buy that he won't just come back again?
That is a good point. Again, that kind of harks back to the start of this. Is like, I need an explanation of why.
Yeah.
So that when he dies,
He's
I know
dead.
it's permanent.
Yeah.
So again, it's one of the unfortunate negatives.
But it would
of
have
the
made
film.
more sense to destroy the temple and the planet when they left. Or did the temple collapse? I can't remember.
I think so. Yeah, because like she used the light and everything, it kind of exploded everything around. All those kind of druid vision things disappeared as well.
So yeah, maybe that's how he can't back. There's no Sith.
Yeah, and then we get the final moment with her and Kylo Ren. Obviously, the kiss thing. But I like that because he healed her because she was dead. And I tell you what, Daisy Ridley did amazing at playing dead.
Yeah,
really, really good.
Would you think they might have used a fake doll in some scenes?
I think it was her. But yeah, he healed her, and then she came back to life. They kissed, and I know you weren't a fan of it, but I didn't mind it. And then he died. I don't know whether that was due to using that power.
I think so.
He overused.
I think it was very similar to what Wolverine did to Rogue in X-Men 1. Of like, he was so drained from it. Obviously, Wolverine came back because he can heal.
Yeah, but Ben couldn't, and then he died. And the thing I like here is the second that he faded away, Leia faded away at the exact same time, and that was a nice little family tie to finish that off. He's always had that connection with his mum.
It was almost like Leia's body might be dead, but she's waiting for her son.
Waiting.
I
loved that. That was really, really heartfelt.
But it was also a throwback to how Alec Guinness's character Ben died, Ben Kenobi, and Yoda. They just faded away.
Yep.
And Luke.
Which, again, that only happens when you're on the light side of the Force.
Yes, but just to kind of fast forward to the very end. Now, I did like the full circle thing of Rey looking at the two sons of Tatooine. Small little thing where I think it was that needed. I would have not had BB-8 there. I
was fine with it.
You know how Luke was by himself?
Yeah.
And it's arguably the most iconic scene in the whole Star Wars saga. Yeah. I think I would have done the same with Rey.
Okay. I mean, it could be argued.
When Leia and Luke were watching her as the ghosts, why couldn't Ben be there as well? As almost a family thing. I know why Han couldn't be because he's not a Jedi.
Yeah, that's true. However, it's kind of like the Skywalker twins are the whole thing that kind of bind this thing together, really.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Overall, apart from the whole Vader and Anakin thing, they are the thread that holds this whole thing together. So it's nice that they finished with that. I obviously we got the final finale with everybody celebrating and everything, all the ships going down and all over the world, the galaxy and stuff, and that was all great. Everybody got their final acts, very Return of the Jedi at the end, hugging and all that.
I figured it would be.
Chewie got a medal.
Yeah, but
again, people are getting pissed off and saying this was fan service. It's like you're moaning because he didn't get a medal, and then when they give him a medal, you're pissed off because they gave him a medal.
But I guarantee Robot Chicken will have a field day with that, because Chewie would be like, oh, just because she's dead and I'll get it.
But yeah, it was. I was glad they did that. They finished off all those characters really nice, and like I said, we have the final moment with Rey. She goes back to Tatooine, which was
a massive throwback.
That is really great. Obviously, you see the sandcrawler and everything. She goes down to the moisture evaporators in
Owen Beru's
place, obviously where Luke was a kid,
raised.
And it's all kind of sanded over, kind of, and everything.
It's full circle.
And she buries both lightsabers using the Force, and then this woman kind of rocks up and says, "No one's been here in years.
Who are you?
Who are you?" And there's Rey Skywalker. She decides to take the mantle of the name Skywalker because that's the thing she's connected to most. She doesn't want to go with the Palpatine thing naturally. And then you get that nice moment with Luke and Leia and everything.
It was almost like, I choose who my family is.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not a Palpatine.
Yeah.
So, but the whole...
I can't deny that final moment, I think
it was great.
Everything there was done absolutely perfectly.
However,
I can't deny.
I've always got the howevers.
There's a little bit of a bitter aftertaste with Josh.
It's just an observation. Great. I understand why she buried the sabers together. It's Luke and Leia's sabers.
Yeah.
They're together. Number one, Luke lived there, but he hated that place. And number two, Leia has no connection to that place at all. I get why they're both together because they're brother and sister lightsabers. But Luke hated that place and Leia's got no connection to it.
No.
But where else are you going to do it?
I disagree with you there. They do.
Well,
because that's where she hasn't, but that's where they come from. Anakin came from there.
No, true. They're both technically Tatooine. Well, where did Padme? Oh, Alderaan, that blew up.
Yeah.
Oh, Naboo. It could have been Naboo.
Tatooine makes more sense.
Yeah, and Luke and Leia had never been
so
Naboo.
So technically, they do have that kind of connection.
It needed to be there for the two.
It needs to be something. Yeah, I think that. Yeah. I can't take anything away from that end shot for me. It was everything I wanted for an end.
You missed the part of Chewie's pain when he finds out Leia's dead.
Oh, that broke me.
Well, Finn even showed emotion, and Poe was just in shock, and then Chewie just...
He broke down, didn't he? I was like, oh my god, no! I've got a funny feeling, because my missus hasn't seen it yet. I think she might cry there. Because she loves Chewie, as most women seem to, but I think she might cry.
It was a weird moment in the sense of when Leia passed away. Obviously, we knew ages before when Carrie passed away, like, well, they're going to have to get rid of the character some way, unless they've done it.
Again, I think they did it perfectly.
They did give it well, but when it happens, it is that kind of, well, that's it. Not only is like the whole Carrie now, that's almost like going through Carrie's death again.
Yeah.
Not in. I don't
not as emotional.
Not as emotional because it's the character.
Yeah.
But also, that's it. The original three are gone.
They're gone.
Han's gone. Luke's gone. Leia's gone.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Something to do with Luke, I think. I can't remember. Oh yes, that was it. The whole premise of Last Jedi was the Jedi have to end, and now they've changed it because now she used the power of the Jedi to destroy the Sith.
No, but that was what... No, because it changed, didn't it, in The Last Jedi? That's what he wanted originally, and at the end, he basically said, I will not be the Last Jedi. She will. So he turned about there.
But I thought that's when Yoda came about and said, yeah, burn the temple, burn the textbooks. He's like, yeah,
but it doesn't. Yeah, but the point is, it doesn't matter because, like I said, all the Jedi live inside her.
It's like a belief.
She's it's a belief. Yeah. She's the vessel, and I think that's one of the reasons why she picked the Skywalker name. It's kind of like it is a family thing. It's like I'm choosing them as my family, not the Palpatine side of things. And it's also kind of like maybe in Legend, like because we're going to get more Star Wars films, but they're not going to be in the Skywalker saga in any way.
Not the main story.
No. So we're going to get new characters, new parts of the galaxy, new stories to tell. What if we just get every little tidbit every now and then of this? It could be like 50, 60 years in the future. And there is no such thing as Jedi or Sith or anything like that. People don't know about that. It's just, it's murmurs. The only thing that they know full well about these legendary people is that they were Skywalker.
Yeah.
That this person was a Skywalker. And it's not even a fact of a last name. It's just that person wasn't a Jedi or a Sith or a Force user. That person was a Skywalker because that's all people know because it's been so long. I reckon maybe they could use that in the future.
Do you think it really does undo the very ending of Last Jedi though? Showing that boy just use the Force? Because it just kind of
with that ending on Last Jedi, I thought that was a bit pointless. You could have ended it in the Millennium Falcon with everybody.
Yeah.
The only thing I think Rian Johnson was trying to tell there is that anybody can be a Force user, anybody can be a Jedi. It's not just about the Skywalker story, but it kind of undoes things.
Yeah.
But it's fine because we know there's other Force users out there. It's not just about the Skywalker story. It's just the Skywalker story is the thing that kind of ties it all together.
Yeah.
We know there's other Force users out there, but maybe in time they won't call themselves Jedi or anything like that. They'll take on the mantle. They'll realise they're a Force user. They'll put their powers together and go, "I'm going to become a Skywalker."
Yeah,
and that's what I'm saying. They'll use that as the actual title of what these people are.
I think
I'm kind of hoping.
Right, we've already gone over the whole. I think they were too careful with the characters in case they wanted to do more spin-offs and stuff. So there wasn't as many deaths as I thought there were going to be. I thought Lando might have kicked it, and like I said, teased 3PO and all that stuff. Do you want to know how I would have done it possibly differently? I've got two different things, especially the Emperor.
Right, go on.
First one, because I think you even said at one point you thought, would the spirits of all the old Jedi turn up?
I didn't like that.
Like Hayden, Windu,
some of the people were talking about that on a couple of reviews as well, and I was like, you know what, it wouldn't have been a bad shout.
If when she was pushing the lightning with the lightsabers, if the Emperor was meant to be as powerful as he is, he could have, forced it a bit back. But then to be almost overwhelmed by the Jedi walking forward as well. It would have
been, not that you'd get this reference, but a lot of geeky people would. It would have felt like the finale in the Dragon Ball Z series, where Goku's sacrificed himself. It was down to Gohan, his son, to take down Cell.
Yeah.
And he's trying his hardest, but his arm's broken. He's using a Kamehameha with one hand instead of two, and he just can't quite do it.
Yeah.
And then he gets a spirit thing of Goku behind him to help him do that and push it forward and take Cell out. That would have been a very similar feel there. Like, she's doing it, but she's not got quite enough.
Yeah.
And then they appear and give the extra power, and then bang, and they're dead. So it's not just her doing it, it's all these Jedi we've come to know and love.
Yeah.
And technically they did do that.
With the voices.
Yeah, with the voices, and they kind of give her that pep talk kind of thing, that kind of last burst.
Get up, you can do this.
Yeah. But it would have been nice to see.
But have you ever seen the live action version of Peter Pan?
What, Hook?
No. They're like,
I was going to say Hook's amazing.
They did a remake where the guy who played Malfoy's dad was Captain Hook.
No, I haven't seen that.
There's a small part very similar where the final battle, Hook learns how to fly because it's all about keeping a happy thought, isn't it? Yeah, he's got the dust and all that shit. And near the end, he's flying, but the croc's right underneath him, and the kids start chanting "Old Alone Done For," and he's there going, trying to keep what he finds happy, and they keep chanting it till he just admits that "Old Alone Done For," and just falls into the crocodile's mouth. It would have been similar to that of like the Jedi, just like no matter how much power the Emperor's got, the power of the light side and all the Jedi behind Rey, it's just not enough. So sort of similar to that. The slight difference is I would have done it like when Kylo first entered the planet, it looked like a laboratory where they'd made Snoke.
Yeah.
And it was almost like, again, almost empty vessels, but they had the power of his darkness running through. It made quite apparent, because when Sidious had his power back, his full power, I thought, is this going to end in a lightsaber duel between him and Kylo
at some point.
But it quickly became apparent now this is more force and mental stuff. If one of my ideas could have been if Rey just told the Emperor, where to go fuck himself. She could have gone to strike him down, but it would have been too cheesy for Kylo to block it because it would have been very Return of the Jedi, like when Vader blocked Luke's saber. Don't copy that. But what if, as he did, a red lightsaber did turn up and it was the vessel of Vader? And she's so taken back by the image of Vader, and they have to make it apparent it's like the vessel, and then maybe even her own clone. Because I did when I first saw that trailer with like the dark side Rey, like I'd be all over seeing light side Rey versus dark side Rey if she is a clone. The other thing,
because there was something else that someone said on a review as well, is that we obviously have like Force Ghost Anakin and everything. Mm-hmm. What if there's like Vader and Anakin are two separate entities?
I think they should be. Because it's the light side, dark side. Yeah. It's similar to what they proved with the Rey dark side. Yeah. The only other way I would have done it, which I think would have caused too much controversy, but I would have personally liked it. What if the whole time when the Emperor's trying to twist Rey of like, you're Palpatine, this is your
blood. You haven't got choices.
This is your destiny. Yeah. And at first, it turns out Rey's already like now light side. There's the lightsaber disappearance thing. But she's showing the possible conflict. Instead of showing her like doing the whole, I'll do it. Forget that scene. She's just in conflict. Keep showing Kylo trying to fight his way to the Emperor's throne so he can help her. By the time he gets there, she's pure dark side. And the whole dynamic has changed. It's now good guy Kylo or Ben versus dark side Rey.
It would have been a swerve and it would have been very bold. It never occurred to me that Rey was ever actually going to go to the dark side.
No, but at that point, I'm not saying Rey should have stayed dark and Kylo be the hero, because he would have gone back to the rebels, whatever, and they would have been like, bullshit, what the fuck? You just murdered our friend Rey. Yeah. I would have said, have the fight, have Rey, but Rey's obviously the more powerful out of her and Kylo, and then right then Kylo just like, everything you've taught me and said to me, turn back. And then she does turn back, and then it goes the way it did with... but at that point, if he does turn her back, that's when the Emperor could have killed Ben in cold blood, and the whole Rey walking forward with the army of the Jedi behind her. See, it's just the way I would have done it. I'm not knocking it, because at the end of the day, I enjoyed the film.
Yeah, it's just personal preference.
Yeah, I enjoyed the film. Like I said at the start, great film, but for a Star Wars film, I always think, come on, really think about this. It seemed a lot, most of this trilogy seemed a lot of, well, that'll do, more than really thinking about what could happen to these characters. And like we said, Abrams had a
lot to do.
Yeah, a lot to work with, because he had to follow most of The Last Jedi,
do damage control,
correct a lot of things,
finish off story arcs, finish off a Skywalker saga as well as this new trilogy, tie everything together with the Emperor, and have a nice final conclusion, really. Yeah. And like I say, there are some missteps and there are some bad points and some
good points,
stick issues that we've got, and a lot of other people have. A lot of people really didn't like it. But I think for what he was given, what they had to do, and it's a massive tall order, I came out thoroughly entertained, and I'm happy to go and see the film
Oh,
again.
I'll
happily be buying that on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Easy. And it wasn't like the end of Game of Thrones where I was so deflated and disappointed that I've kind of been put off buying merch since because of it. This has not done that to me at all.
Yeah. But I wasn't sitting there thinking, oh, what a way to go.
Yeah.
I left cinema thinking, okay. No.
Yeah.
And I don't think
I think it was a nice way to finish everything off. However, I was so more emotionally invested in Endgame than this.
Yeah.
I've said a million times, Star Wars is my jam. That is my number one thing. It always has been. But Endgame were able to hit the more emotional and hard-hitting points that they needed to make.
Yeah, I think
they did it fine here, but it just wasn't as good as Endgame.
People who know me well also know that, you know, I think it is quite obvious as well that Star Wars is more my jam than Marvel as well.
Yeah.
But I will say I think Endgame did a better job than what Star Wars did. So usually in the Angle Slam stuff, we do the star rating and stuff.
We do it at 10, but obviously my regular thing's out of 5. So is it 1 star or 5?
Well, I wasn't going to go with a star rating, but
that's what I usually do.
All right, I'll go with a 4.
You go with a 4.
Yeah.
I'm sticking to my guns. I went for a 5 star.
Okay.
I know because I still gave The Last Jedi a 5 star. And I stick by that. Even though it had its problems, I still gave it a 5 star because it did some things that you weren't expecting, and a lot of people didn't like that. I thought, yeah, but I want to have some different things happen sometimes. Yes, there were some flaws in this film, just like there was in The Last Jedi, just like there are in any film. No film is absolutely perfect. There's no film without sin. Yeah. But I thoroughly entertained the whole thing. That it tied everything off as good as it possibly could. It did what it had to do. And I left feeling good and happy and content to go and see that again. So I have no qualms of giving it my high rating of 5 stars.
Maybe I shouldn't look at it this way, but I always, because it obviously now the whole thing is part of 9 films. Yeah, it's the whole thing. In my head, I would just think, yes, I enjoyed it, but I've really got to the point where we either can't do a film that's as good or outdoes any of the original trilogy.
I don't think it'll ever happen.
Well, that's why I can't give it a 5.
Because there still hasn't been a film for me that has beaten The Empire Strikes Back.
That's why I can't give it a 5. Because if a 5 is as high as you can go, it's either got to be better or just as good as like Empire or Jedi.
No, yeah, I agree. But I mean, I suppose Empire was long gone and done before I even was old enough to even think about doing a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
But I would obviously give that my highest rating as well. I think maybe, unfortunately for me, I'm so biased with Star Wars. Yeah, like so many people are just like, I hate the prequels, and they bitch and moan about the prequels. It's like, yeah, but I'm the kind of person that will sit there and go, yeah, but there's good things to be in that. And, you know what I mean? It's the same thing with these. I know there's some flaws, but I'm still nostalgic enough to be sitting there going, at the age of 31, going, I'm in the cinema watching a Star Wars film. I never thought this would ever happen. It's like the fact that once... Like the original trilogy was done and dusted before we were even born, and then we got to know it and loved it, and then we found out we were going to be getting 3 more. Watching them as a kid was amazing, and thinking this is it, this is the last 3 that ties everything together, knowing we would never ever get another Star Wars film ever again in the cinema. It sucks. Yeah. And then when you find out that you're going to be getting 3 more, and a load of spin-offs that we've been slowly getting, I'm always...
It's a lottery win.
I'm always thankful for that. You know what I mean? Even though it might have some missteps, I'm always thankful for going, they're giving us more of what we want. It might not be exactly what we want, but it's still Star Wars.
Yeah. So are you saying, though, that the nostalgia plays a big part in your opinion, though?
Yeah. So, unfortunately, it does.
Well, yeah, no, I think I'm
not going to deny that it doesn't.
Yeah, because I asked you a while back with... the Marvel films, can't remember which films, but I remember approaching you with some of them going, I've heard bad things about it, mixed reviews, and you've gone, oh, I loved it, I enjoyed it. And I think I even asked, but did you love it because you're an avid Marvel fan? Can you look past that it's Marvel?
Yeah, but I would agree there are certain, like I say, same with Star Wars it is with Marvel, there are some films better than others. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I say, I enjoyed Ant-Man and the Wasp, but I would say it's not one that I'm rushing out to get on DVD or Blu-ray. You know what I mean? So I enjoyed it. It was fine. All the films are fine, but there's some that are 10 times better than others.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with this. The Rise of Skywalker is 10 times better than The Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. I think I'd say it was on par, if not better than New Hope. I think it's up there as one of my favourite films. I'm not going to say that it isn't.
Okay, you might have answered my last question then. Because this is what I was going to go with the star instead of the star rating. Do you prefer this trilogy or the prequel trilogy?
Oh, that's difficult.
I thought it would be.
I think I prefer this trilogy.
I
still
enjoy
the prequels, but there was more holes and more problems in that than there were in this one, I think. A lot of the problems that we got here were just mainly to do with fans complaining because they didn't get exactly what they wanted. And, back then with the prequels, we didn't have that luxury of the social media side of things and being able to bitch and moan and complain. And the same thing with, obviously, the originals. There wasn't that kind of vessel or that kind of entry point for us to sit there and moan and complain about this stuff. But now that there is, and it's such a wide and vast thing that so many people are able to get their opinions up like that, that it plays a part. And I agree that they did do some fan service things to please you, but at the end of the day, that is the point. Yeah. People say, "Oh, they did too much fan service." That's the point. You're the fans. You're coming to watch Star Wars. They want to please you. So when they give you what you want, either if you don't like it, then you're just the kind of person that's never going to be satisfied wholly with what you're seeing in front of you. You're always going to sit there and pick it apart because it's not exactly the way that it came in your brain. Newsflash, you didn't invent Star Wars and you have no control in it. They have the control, so they will give you what they think should work.
I'd hate it if it was exactly the way I thought.
Exactly. So you've got to do some different things.
Yeah, because to me, everyone wants every film to be a lightning in the bottle moment.
Yeah.
And it's so... Yes, I love those moments as well. Yeah, and I do want that, but we can't expect it all the time. So it's the same with when we talk about wrestling. Like, I don't want Vince or whoever to listen to us all the time. I want to be shocked or have a surprise moment.
It's the same thing with films.
To my core, that I didn't see coming, but you have to be careful that it's a surprise that I'm going, holy shit, yes, not a, what the fuck, come on. It's walking on the razor's edge.
Yeah.
So...
And this is the thing, like, if we had this having knock out of the park films every single time and leave lightning in the bottle moments every single time we went to the cinema, then it wouldn't make the ones that are actually that good any special, because everything will be as good as everything else, which means nothing's as good as anything else.
Yeah, everything becomes stale.
Yeah, it becomes boring, because it's like, oh, it's going to be 5 stars, it's always 5 stars. And after a while, you're like, well, I've got nothing to look forward to or to talk about. How would we be able to do podcasts and people to do reviews and have opinions and do that kind of stuff if there's not a little bit of controversy, something different, something unexpected, something amazing, something crap? That's the whole point of making this a pop culture phenomenon in Star Wars or Marvel or any of this other stuff, that you sit there to debate and talk about until the cows come home, because that's all part of the love of that brand or that franchise.
The hardest thing to do this day and age is to either fool or trick the audience into something they didn't expect with a twist, and yet give them everything they want.
Yeah,
that is the hardest thing to do.
Which is why Empire Strikes Back is my all-time favourite film of any film, because it subverted expectations with the whole Vader is Luke's father. Yeah. You'd never ever expected that. It was such a big swerve and such a big shock, and then you sit back and you're like, fuck me, all your questions are going through your mind when you see it for the first time, and you're not sitting there going, that's bollocks, I wouldn't have had that. You're sitting there going, holy shit, what does this mean? You know what I mean? And that's why it's such a great film.
The thing with Empire is it goes... He did every tick in the box. He's like, so if you've seen the 77 Star Wars, and it's like, I want to see something just as good as that. They turned the action up to like 11 with it.
Yeah.
Check. They quickly, throughout the film, established who is good and who is bad.
Yep.
Check. A very original and great story with like all these other subplots of Han and Leia's romance, Luke's training, and then the major twist at the end.
Yeah. And then even like the shock value of, is Han Solo dead? Even down to the way that they structured the film. Instead of having the final battle at the end, they had the battle at the start.
Yeah. And the good guys got their ass kicked.
And again, the good guys got their asses kicked.
Yeah. So, I think if I were to pick prequel or this new one, I'd go prequel purely because, and this is arguable, obviously they have the characters from the original trilogy to play with the prequel.
Yeah.
Arguably, that makes it easier. On one side, I think it makes it harder because they can go. You've got Obi-Wan.
We're lucky we had someone like Ewan McGregor taking on Obi-Wan.
But yeah, to use his character for an example, again, he would have been following the director's lead and everything like that. They could have gone, okay, well, it was obviously that good because all he had to do was just see the way Alec played it and just use a young version of that. Yes, to a degree, but at the same time, they could have fucked up so bad that people could have been watching going,
That's
no way that the Obi-Wan character would go.
Yeah.
And I nearly went that way. Again, a small scene at the end of Revenge of the Sith where Yoda was like, I found a way for you to get in touch with Qui-Gon. To me, that explains how much more wisdom he's got in Episode 4. Because he still had the guidance of his master during that
100%.
18-year period while Luke was growing up. As well as training himself and teaching himself of...
He's got Qui-Gon to help him.
Well, he even admits it in the last film. Like, I thought I could teach your father just as much as Yoda. I was wrong because I was a master, but I still had a lot more to learn. Because throughout most of the trilogy, the prequel trilogy, Obi-Wan's a bit of a dick. He never came across as a dick.
Yeah, but he's young and a bit more hot-headed. Hot-headed.
He's cocky and headstrong.
Yeah, exactly. Because he's a Jedi Knight in a war. He hasn't got time to make long decisions. It's like
it took the fall of Anakin to realise he needs to change his game.
Yeah.
So
I mean, overall with this new trilogy, then, are you, let's say overall, are you satisfied with the way that the Star Wars Skywalker saga concluded?
Yes, because. It's a cheap answer to say but again, it's because it's Star Wars.
Yeah.
So
people say that's not a reason, but it is. You got to take this into account.
It's a difficult one to answer because I think there'd be a lot of fans out there after now once they see the Rise of Skywalker that go, I wish they just kind of faded off into the destiny after the Battle of Endor and that.
Yeah.
But they're speaking from hindsight. If you go back to when they announced we're going to do 7, 8 and 9, you'd be like, I've always been clamouring to see what happened to Han, Leia and Luke. You might not like how it went down, but it's happened.
You wanted it.
And it's happened now. And I'm glad to see what happened with their story.
Yeah,
so
100%.
Yeah, the prequels were going, this is what happened before Luke, Leia and Han were born. Well, Han wasn't even mentioned in the prequels. We got Solo's story, but that was it. The original trilogy was their story. This was how theirs end and these new characters.
Yeah.
So I could even say with that hug at the end, Rey, Finn, and Poe all survived, and them hugging established to me they're the new Luke, Leia, and Rey. Luke, Leia, and Han.
Yeah. It was very emotional with those three as well because they said they're not doing any more Star Wars.
I think a lot of that was real emotion. It wouldn't surprise me if comes out.
If you look at fucking John Boyega,
he's balling.
Yeah, I think it is real emotion.
It wouldn't surprise me if Abrams saved that for the last shot.
Probably.
And he used the real emotion from them going, we're done. That's it.
I also do like the fact that the very last word we get in this entire thing is the word Skywalker.
Yeah.
I liked that. I think that's a nice way to finish it.
So, is this meaning both... Well, see, it means the Rise of Skywalker, the Skywalker they now talk about is Rey. Mm-hmm. Does that mean Rey's also the Last Jedi? Because they never really established someone's going to be.
Well, apparently originally it was meant to be Leia, but obviously with carried on, they had to change things because they didn't have enough footage to be able to do what they wanted. So yeah, she's both.
Well, I love the fact that it shows after she buried Luke and Leia's lightsaber, she's got her own yellow one with the dial turn. Yeah, that's another most thing, but okay. But her keeping a lightsaber, maybe it's just for defense or because she's now a Jedi, whatever. But does that mean she's gonna continue the Jedi way and train more people, or just retire as a Jedi?
I think she's just become this legend.
And that's it. She's the last Jedi.
Yeah,
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Well, considering it kind of has to be if it's the last one. Because if people are going, she's going to train more, obviously not.
No,
otherwise
it'd
it'd be
be
episode 10. Yeah.
So yeah, that's it. It's done.
Yeah.
Overall, I enjoy myself.
So did I. So, again, I'm going to use it again. It's Star Wars.
It's Star Wars.
We're going to enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that's Star Wars spoiler podcast talk stuff all done and dusted. That's Star Wars over.
I think we went a bit longer than we thought we would.
Yeah,
but again, it was the last one.
It's Star Wars.
Yeah,
I keep saying it. I keep saying
Star Wars.
I'll be 85 on my deathbed. It's just like, what's the best thing in your life? Star Wars, can on. Fuck the wife and the kids, don't care about them. Star Wars, can on.
Put it this way, if we're talking about Star Trek, it would have been a 5-minute podcast.
Yeah.
It would have been, it was a good film.
Yeah.
But I'm not into it.
It's not Star Wars, though, is it? Right, so yeah, like, subscribe, and obviously have a great Christmas. This will probably be the last video for a couple of weeks, I think, maybe. Yeah. So yeah, we'll see you soon.
Happy New Year!